to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes. We're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no.
Hell yes.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
And here's Johnny. It's the Friday free-for-all, folks. It's been one hell of a week. And man, did the Democrats, man, did Joe Biden, oh, they overplayed their hand. Folks, everyone out there, do this now. Share this internet address as soon as the show is over at any point you want. This message is going to be powerful. It is a free-for-all Friday. Thanks, Biden. It's on. They just told us exactly who they are and what's going on, folks. Good golly, it's been a long week for all of us. Oh, yeah. What? Right, we're supposed to go out and work. I mean, I got this from Uman today. So we're supposed to go out and work, grind our way through the week, try and make a profit. And if you do, you've got to pay taxes, then send it to Washington, D.C. So hashtag pedo Hitler can take our money and then send it over. Another $11.7 billion, just send it on over to Zelensky, to Ukraine. What the hell? All while threatening us, me, you, all of us, with just absolute death and destruction. You guys are the enemies of the people. I hope you like the thumbnail I did for this video. It's incredible. Yeah, they don't see the problem with what they're doing, folks, the Democrats. Unbelievable. It is the free-for-all Friday. You can talk about whatever you want Monday through Friday. If you're a member of the preparedmind.club, C-L-U-B, preparedmind.club, you can sign up $2 a month for our premium service. You can join and support this channel, and then Monday through Friday, you can join the Q&A. Because we do it Monday through Friday. Doesn't cost you another penny unless you want to be like, those who just send in donations all the time. Keeps us up to here, keeps us solvent in spam and, Captain Morgan. Anyways, here we are. I'm sickened by the Democrats, by Joe Biden, by the liberal world order, by the World Economic Forum, by NATO. It's unbelievable. This is supposed to be our country. And these people are proclaiming that we're the enemy, all while taking our money and using our wealth and our nation as a tool against us. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Folks, get your questions into Jolene right now. She's going to stack them up. I'm going to do a couple topics. She's going to do a couple of topics. I tell you, get your breath. Get your breath. I didn't bring anything to drink over here to this corner of the Prepared Mind bunker. And bunker it is, folks. I'm bunkered in. I'm ready for these jackasses to come after us. When you see this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the thumbs up button right away. And share this internet address with others. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Now, Joe Biden wants another $11.7 billion in emergency funding for Ukraine. It just incenses me how much money they throw around. I mean, the federal budget, not only to pay for the military, pay for highways, pay for whatever they're supposed to pay for, right? Then they're going to send our money overseas. Divide $11 billion by the 200 million taxpayers. You'll find out how many dollars that is, right? That we're all liable for. It's crazy, folks. It's absolutely crazy. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. What is wrong with these people, folks? Everything is wrong with these people. Now, the big deal for the day, and I know you're going to want to talk about it because I want to talk about it, is the Joe Biden speech. I started this morning with my Zero Dark 30 out of the bunker blast and discussion, but that wasn't the end of it. Oh, no. Joe Biden standing in front of the podium, unpresidential, more like Adolf Hitler. Now, folks, the Nazis would hold their rallies at night because at night, the human mind is more subject to being controlled by fear. See, when things are illuminated, well lit, we don't have any fear because we can see further, see clearly, and we're not afraid of being attacked. Subconsciously, the human mind is more afraid when it's dark outside. So we're more abject, we're more subject to fear. Abject fear being cast onto us. Right? That's why movie theaters are dark. So only the screen tells you the story and tells your mind how to think and react. So when it's dark, you're more fearful. And if you're told to be afraid and shown an enemy, guess what? You believe it. You tend to believe it more. It is a tool of propaganda. Now, also at night, fire, right? The flames of fire are orange and red. Red light, orange light tells us, it's dark. It's primeval. You're subject to these thoughts, these feelings, right? So Joe Biden comes out with red light bathed all over him. Well, it was effective, folks. It was effective, except on our side of the aisle. That is the Make America Great, America First, patriotic American, Constitution Americans. We aren't afraid of Joe Biden. We're afraid of what he'll do. And it woke us up even more. So what? So Joe, he comes out later today and says, quote, I don't consider any Trump supporter a threat to the country. Oh, really? Really? I mean, after all these weeks of telling us exactly the opposite of what you just claimed, you're going to try and take it back?
Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
That was, folks, weeks ago when that last video clip was created. That seemed like an awful, terrible thing for the president to say, and it is. And it was just off the charts. Can you believe he just said that about us? That we're the most extreme group, organization, type of people that this nation's ever faced? And then he comes out with what he did last night. Unbelievable. He called everyone, including Trump, a threat to the country and more. And he did it, folks, with the image of United States Marines, a huge insult to me. You think I would have stood back there at attention? No, folks, I actually think it was a green screen. I think that was green screened in, and then everything was bathed in red light. And the president was in a very dark atmosphere, much like the Nazis' nighttime, book-burning, fear-inducing, propaganda-laden, mind control rallies. Right? Now, another nickname that pedo Hitler, right, has been dealing with is, the speech anyway was called the Moloch speech, right? Because they used to, right, those that worshipped this demigod Moloch back in Babylonian times, right, they would sacrifice people to flame, that red light, that flaming red light. Anyways, Jean-Pierre, that's right, folks, Karine Jean-Pierre, idiot spokesgirl for Biden, gave an absolutely ridiculous answer when asked why there were Marines standing behind Biden as he threatened all of us, millions and millions and millions of Americans. Here's what she said. Oh, yeah, get your questions in, folks. We've got the Friday free-for-all, folks, and it's on. Now, Karine said this, quote, the presence of the Marines at the speech was intended to demonstrate the deep and abiding respect the president has for these service members, to these ideals, and the unique role our independent military plays in defending our democracy. Well, I mean, those are all words. They're all words from the English language, are they not? But they don't make a lick of fucking sense. The presence of the Marines, or using images of Marines in a digitally created atmosphere, was intended to demonstrate the deep and abiding respect the president has for these service members. Oh, really? Is that same deep and abiding respect the same respect and abidingness that Obama Biden had when they allowed that bomber to blow Marines to pieces at the Afghan airport in Kabul, when they abandoned the Afghan people, the American citizens, and our military and civilian allies in Afghanistan, as he turned over $85 billion in hardware equipment to the Taliban? That's the type of deep and abiding respect he has. It's more like he was pissing on him. I really don't believe Marines would stand around. I guess they could be ordered to stand there, not say a word, hold perfectly still. I mean, I get it, right? I know the eighth and I thing. Let's continue, though, right? Back to Karine Jean-Pierre. Why do we have a French person in that position anyways? What kind of crap is that? All right, moving on to these ideals. What ideals? He wanted to demonstrate the deep and abiding respect for the service members to these ideals. Which freaking ideals? The ideals of Karl Marx, Joseph Stalin, Vladimir Lenin, Chairman Mao, Barack Hussein, insane Barry Soetoro Obama, those ideals of socialism? And then he goes on to say this: the unique role our independent military plays in defending our democracy. Independent military? Independent of what? The Constitution, the rule of law, common sense, our American history, independent of all that? And we don't have a democracy. We have a nation. We're not defending the democracy with our military. We're defending the nation and the people. I'm sick of defending democracy. Our nation is not a democracy. Our nation, which we should be defending, and the people, is a republic that values freedoms and liberty above government. Government is just a tool the people created to administrate the country. Now let me go back to this thing about ideals. She didn't really explain what ideals, but if we're talking about the military before and then the military after, what ideals do the military have? Well, I say it every show. I say Semper Fi. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful. Is that an ideal? Always faithful? Always faithful to what? I always say always faithful to what you believe and know to be right. Your belief in God, your belief in yourself, your country, the United States of America, born out of a belief and desire and a willingness to fight for freedom and liberty. Are those the ideals Biden is here for? That he's demonstrating a deep and abiding respect for? No, bullshit. She's a fucking liar. I'm pissed off, folks. Absolutely pissed off. Now, anyone who spends any time dealing with sports, especially sports on the internet, knows about barstool sports. It's a big thing, right? So founder Dave Portnoy had this to say about Biden. And I want to share this with you. Folks, it's not just you and me. It's not just us. Patriots, preppers, hardcore, militant, right? This idea that we're extreme militant, threats to the country. Just unbelievable. Everyone gets it, folks. A sports dude, Dave Portnoy, says, quote, "Our president looked like fucking Hitler, and anyone who says otherwise is full of shit." How can you not agree with that statement? Man, I hope you're prepared. I truly do. I hope you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and means of self-defense. And you better have a good supply of freedom seeds to go with a good supply of food because they're jacking this system up. And I'm pissed and you're pissed and everyone's pissed. All right. It is Free for All Friday. And I'm ready to take some questions from you guys. Jolene, who do we have up first? We've got a statement of John from Gary D. He says, if the Fuhrer's speech last night wasn't enough to greatly accelerate your prepping, then I don't... Pardon me. Man, better take some medicine. Boy, am I fucking pissed. What a fucking week. And then this clown. These people, folks. And they're hardly people in my book. If the Fuhrer's speech last night wasn't enough to greatly accelerate your prepping, then I don't know what will. Exactly, folks. Exactly. Well stated, Gary. There's nothing I need to add to that. Well said. Who do we have next, Jolene? Well, we got Kathy Lemaster says, think the news said he mentioned MAGA a minimum of 16 times in his speech. So ridiculous. That's right. There was a tally of all the different anti-Republican, anti-Trump, anti-Make America Great Again, as well as others. It was notated and put down all over the place. All over the place. Now, this is the big enchilada for the day. Get your questions in. Now, you know Carrie Lake. She is all over it and on fire. She's running for governor in Arizona. She stomped the shit out of the rhinos in the primary, and she's trying to get the communist, socialist, Democrat, commie-crat, Katie Hobbs to just come out and debate her. But see, here's the deal, folks. The Democrats will no longer ever again debate Republicans, especially, folks, especially Republicans who are conservative and pro-constitutional, because they cannot answer the questions. They cannot debate them. Their policies are inexcusably stupid. Their policies are incomprehensible to the common sense, to the critical mind. So they're just refusing. Anyways, Carrie Lake went after Joe Biden and called his speech the most absurd, obscene address I've ever seen a president give. Right? Carrie Lake described Biden well, but I think a lot more derogatory comment is needed, along with the political will of not only politicians, but us to fight those evil bastards politically and let them know we are going to win. They can't win the fight. Now, here's what Lake said. I don't know if you all just came from your newsrooms and if you happen to see what I just happened to see, but I watched the most absurd, frankly obscene address I've ever seen a president give to the American people. What I saw was somebody who's trying to divide this country. I'm not sure what's wrong with Joe Biden. I know that he may have problems that we don't know about. But what I saw with him was somebody who carries in his heart a great deal of disdain for a whole lot of really good American people. The America First agenda is about putting America first. The America First agenda is about finding solutions to the problems that we have had for many, many years. It's a big deal, folks. This America First thing is about America. What did Joe Biden do? He wants to send our money, right, overseas. Give it away to the most corrupt nation on the planet. Okay. Okay, I'm going to continue. I can't help it, right? This was a big deal. The news media, including Gateway Pundit and others, said, you know, they praised, right, this thing. Patriot with a bullhorn interrupts Joe Biden's sick speech. And the protester screams, fuck Joe Biden. At first, I thought, that's great. I'm glad someone was there. I'm glad someone was there with a bullhorn. I'm glad someone was there to yell at Joe Biden. I mean, so Marines were present. All of this stage setup and lighting was there. It was a rally of sorts. It was a public meeting. I mean, I have some questions. I really don't think that this was a Trump supporter. I think it was a plant. Just an idea, folks. Think about it. I think this was a Biden operative. I think they were trying to make the patriotic, make America great again, the patriotic America First crowd sound like they were violent and they needed to be opposed, right? Now understand, when the president speaks, you can't get anywhere near him without going through metal detectors and past Secret Service and law enforcement, etc. You can't get anywhere near the president with anything remotely resembling a gun or having metal. How did anyone get a bullhorn past security and the Secret Service so they could get within shouting distance of the president to say, fuck Joe Biden? Now, I appreciate the fact that he said it, but I think this was a small-scale false flag to give credibility to President Gigi Biden, pedo Hitler. I think that they wanted to give credibility to him so that everyone could hear some wacko, right, screaming at him with a bullhorn. So you could go, see, that's what they're like. That's what they're like. They're cussing at your president, the president the people elected. Give me a break. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let's do this. Let's take a gander at what you want to talk about. Latin American Preparedness has this to say. He says, many people have been taking rhetoric from Biden as a threat to the American people. We would have a visit from the police if we said something similar to other people. Should Biden be accountable? Well, you see, that's a great point to make. And there's several ways to address it. Number one, you and I believe in freedom of speech. Unless he says we need to attack and kill, right? To assault and destroy the American people that don't agree with us. Unless he said something like that and inspired violence, encouraged violence. Well, kind of like Kamala Harris did in 2020, the summer of love, when she told protesters they need to continue doing what they're doing. And what they were doing was burning, looting, murdering, and assaulting police. But I digress. Right? We like to think free speech means you can say whatever you want as long as no one is hurt as a consequence or result of the speech. In other words, don't shout fire in a crowded room because people could get trampled. The president threatening the American people with his rhetoric borders on being dangerous to the safety and well-being of people in general. I agree with you. If you and I were so bold as to make a threat like that, or all of the threats, we would have a visit from the police or the FBI, because it would be considered real. Folks, anytime a leftist, like President Biden or Vice President Kamala Harris or Nancy Pants or Mad Maxine Waters, they can say anything they want. The good Reverend Al Sharpton, he can say what he wants with his bullhorn, no problem. BLM, Antifa, the pro-abortion crowd can scream and yell, right? Anything they want. We're going to burn this motherfucker down, man. Speaking of the Supreme Court or Congress. And what they actually do is burn down people who offer help to women who are pregnant and they want help, not an abortion. They're attacking and burning those places down. Biden should be accountable, folks. I believe in free speech, and I think politicians should say what they want. But here's the thing, right? I consider all of these people in Washington, D.C., in my opinion, I consider them a terrifying threat to our republic, our nation, and the people who reside here, who were born here, and those who have been lawfully naturalized as citizens. I believe he's threatening us. I believe that they are not semi-fascists, but full-on social fascists, just like the people's, right? And folks, in Germany, they had the Nazi Party. The fascists were socialists. They were socialists. So to be fascist is to be socialist. That is to believe in complete and total government authoritarianism and the enrichment of those in political power and corporate power. That's what a fascist is. Hunter, Joe, the big guy getting his 10% sounds fascist to me. Anyways, Biden should be held accountable, folks. We're going to have some big, big, big trouble. Right? Now, the term pedo Hitler, and folks, put it in the comments below. Just put it in there. Hashtag PEDO Hitler. Hashtag pedo Hitler. Fucking Twitter is lying about how many people are using that today. Right? Still, the hashtag pedo Hitler referring to Biden's speech last night is trending on Twitter big time. Right? Because of his tyrannical and threatening speech to us Americans. Now get this, folks. I've got some questions and some comments I want you to think about. Get your questions in. Now, number one, President Donald J. Trump, and only President Trump, condemned Biden's speech at the time that I listened to it this afternoon. Where are all the America First, Make America Great Again Republicans inside the states, at the state level, in the Congress, the Senate? Where are they on condemning, absolutely condemning Biden's speech, the exploitation of the military, the use of psychological operations and propaganda taken straight from Joseph Goebbels of the Nazi Party? Where is all the condemnation of what he said? Only Trump stood up, folks. Well, and me and you. Number two, Americans are not afraid of Biden and the commie-crats in Washington, D.C., nor are we afraid of their goon squads. When the freedom seeds fly, folks, we all harvest what is sown. And what is Joe Biden sowing? That would be planting seeds of destruction, folks, seeds of hatred, seeds of anti-Americanism. And that will be cut and it will be thrown in the fire. The people aren't afraid of you, Joe. We're not afraid of you a bit. Whether or not you have F-16 jets, or as Eric Swallowswell says, that you guys have the nukes. You're going to use the nukes on us, Joe? Really? You're going to nuke the American soil in order to kill your enemies here? Unbelievable. Number three, why did China Joe, Gigi, why has he never spoken to China or any other national leaders or nation as he spoke last night at us, the American people? We are the only and the true sovereigns of this nation, these United States of America. He won't talk to anyone else that way and condemn them and threaten them. It shows, folks, that the commie-crat Rhino Party, the Democrats and Rhino Republicans, they have contempt for the United States of America. Contempt and anger and hatred. Now, number four, upon closer examination, I think those Marines in the background were part of a green screen production. I think they were. I think it was a bunch of stage-managed plastic banana, good time rock and roll shit. And they exploited the U.S. Marines' image as dignified, patriotic, disciplined. They stole that and they used it for their own propaganda. And that pisses me off. It truly does, folks. Now, number five, when someone takes a Hitler speech video and dubs Biden's voice and speech over it, someone let me know. I'm sure it would be scary as hell to see all of that Hitler, this and that, and the screaming and the pounding, which Joe did. You could take Hitler's speech and put it on Joe Biden's video, or you could take Joe Biden's video and put it on Hitler's, Joe Biden's speech and put it on Hitler's video. You bet it would match. I bet it would frickin' match. Now, number 6. Joe Biden, we are told, was the great unifier. Hardy har har, as so many have said to me over the years when I make a bad joke, right? Folks, even during the Civil War in America, where Americans had to kill Americans, political hatred of our countrymen wasn't as caustic, in my opinion, as it is now under commie-crat control. Of course, the Northerners called the Southerners Johnny Reb, right? Because they were rebelling against tyranny coming out of New York and the North. I think we've gone far beyond that, folks. And Biden certainly isn't the great unifier. No other president, including, in my opinion, Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, no other president has been as divisive and hate-filled as Joe Biden. Number 7. Mad Max moments are coming. Have no doubts. They have pushed the envelope. Right? As stated at the beginning of this video, if this doesn't convince you to get prepared at thepreparedmind.club to get food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and put together a plan, folks, if this doesn't convince you, nothing will. This speech was beyond Hitler-esque. It just was. Hitler, folks, in his speeches, condemned everyone and everything they could. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I've got some more for you here, right? I've got some more for you, but I want to get to your questions, your comments. So, Jolene, who do we have up next? We've got Jeff H. And he says, there's a reason they've been purging the military for years. You are absolutely correct in my estimation, in my opinion, Jeff. I truly believe you are correct there. And I want to address what you have to say. And would you look at that? I've got a nice little Cash App donation. Folks, you can make a Cash App donation anytime you want to our cause, which is keeping the bunker active and getting information out to you guys. This is an anonymous one. Thank you very much. Hot stuff. Cash App and PayPal are a way to get funding to this network, to pay our expenses, pay our bills, put spam and scotch, right? It's not easy doing what we do. We got crispy bacon in the house. And thank you very much, Chris, for watching the door and making sure the crowd doesn't get out of hand. Same to you, Jolene and Uman, etc. Now, back to Jeff's comment. He said, there's a reason they've been purging the military for years. There was a wave of patriotism during George W. Bush's regime. Though they passed the Patriot Act, which was un-American and unpatriotic, and they passed the NDAA, which is the National Defense Authorization Act, which was also unpatriotic because it turned the federal government's attention and their eyes not on our enemies overseas, but back on ourselves, the people. Now, that started a problem. And then Barack Obama, President Obama shithead, took office, and for 8 years, folks, for 8 years, Obama got rid of conservative, constitutional, Republican, America-loving generals and other folks, flag grade and staff officers at the Pentagon. They fired them. They pressured them to quit. They let them go. And they continued to bring in and promote more pro-authoritarian, pro-communist, pro-socialist officers. The officer corps of our military, especially at the Pentagon level, headquarters level, is rich, swimming in socialist mindset and thought and desire. Then we had Trump for 4 years. He was confounded by them. Folks, John Brennan, prior CIA head, is a communist, according to reports and his own words, and that he also converted to Islam. Excuse me, that happened? Really? Someone fact check that. Right? And then now we got rid of Trump, all the fighting, and now we got Biden back in there, cutting loose, destroying our military. Right? If you don't get the Jim Jones juice, you're out. If you won't get your second shot, you're out. If you won't get the boosters, you're out. You have to stay fully boosted. They want to get everyone who is not a mental midget, a total pliable puppet that they can control and pull their strings. Everyone in the military is what they want, folks. Weak-minded people. And I hope you're right, Sergeant Major Michael. You know who you are. I hope you're right that the military, the infantry, the hardcore soldiers and Marines are still patriotic, and that there's enough of them in there to maintain, right, the defense that we need. But it's scary business, folks. It's absolutely scary what they're doing to this nation. It truly is. Now, that was your question. It is now time for my topic. If you've got a question, get it in here. Get it in here. We've got a lot to talk about, folks. Now, get this. All right, a lot of people believe that Florida, over there, we got Texas. Over there, we've got Florida. Two great governors. But DeSantis truly is the very best of them all. And a lot of people believe, well, he should go to Washington, D.C. He is strong enough. He is smart enough. He is young enough. His record is great. He hasn't done anything wrong, or they would have killed him, right? Killed him politically. That he could go there and fix this country. Folks, don't believe it for a second. DeSantis, as much as I admire and respect him and his integrity, standing up for the millions and millions and millions and millions of Floridians and saying, if you want the Jim Jones juice, go get it. But you don't have to. If you want to wear a mask, go ahead, but you don't have to. If you want to go to the beach or the lake or a nightclub or a restaurant, you don't have to wear a mask. You're free. Move about the state. If you want to come to Florida on vacation, come. Right? DeSantis. No more critical race theory. DeSantis. No more drag queens and sexualizing children in schools. Bunch of sick fucks. So, well, folks, DeSantis, in my opinion, he wouldn't make a lick of difference in D.C. Not because I don't think he is skilled enough or intelligent enough or strong enough, but because D.C. is full of maggot-infested scum. According to MSNBC, folks, at the Readout blog, I've got a news story here, folks. Mainstream media, MSNBC. They claim that DeSantis has turned Florida into a global embarrassment. A global embarrassment? Really? Are we supposed to be ashamed of Florida because of what South Africa thinks, or because of what England thinks, or because of what Russia thinks, or because of what Europe in general thinks, or Africa thinks? Are we supposed to believe that we here should give a fuck, a flying fuck at a rolling donut, because of what any other country thinks of our nation, and especially of Florida? A global embarrassment? You want a global embarrassment? Look at the European Central Bank. You want a global embarrassment? Look at the European Union. Look at NATO if you want a global embarrassment. Look at China and their record on climate and human rights. If you want an embarrassment, look somewhere else. But let me tell you what the United Nations says, folks. The United Nations says the Florida law, referred to as the anti-riot legislation, is a product of right-wing fear-mongering. And there it is, folks. They said it all. Right? The law authorizes punitive action against anyone who, quote, willfully participates in a violent public disturbance involving an assembly of 3 or more people. Okay, if 3 or more people are committing a violent public disturbance, that is an act that is criminal because it is violent. I mean, when you're throwing Molotov cocktails or throwing rocks at cops, if you're assaulting people, if you're breaking into businesses and looting them, if you're setting fire to things in arson, that's violent public disturbance. They're not doing it in their own homes, folks. They're in the public. Oh, not to mention assaulting police. Unbelievable. The United Nations looks at that law and calls it right-wing fear-mongering, when across this nation in the summer of 2022, these left-wing violent cocksuckers, and I bet every last one of them were, they burned, they looted, they murdered, they raped, they assaulted police, they attempted to burn courts, and they did, and they burned police stations, and they attempted to burn police officers alive. Yeah, the idea of putting an end to that. Oh my God, that's got to be right-wing fear-mongering. No. What they wanted to say in Florida is, guess what? You're not going to do that here. It was already against the law to commit arson, assault, murder, looting. We already know that, but Florida went further and said, hey, if you willfully participate, right? 3 or more people, we're coming after you. I kind of like that. What is their sheriff down there in Polk County? Grady Judd. I mean, if you ever met a guy, he could be 5'7", 120 pounds soaking wet. And if his name was Grady Judd, you'd be like, dude, that's a fucking cool name, dude. Right? Don't mess with that guy. Anyways, DeSantis, he's done the right thing. He's done the right thing in Florida. He's freed Florida. The whole country, the reason they hate him, folks, the reason they hate him is because he has set an example. That's right. Governor DeSantis has set an example for all the other states to follow. All they have to do is follow through the door, the hole that DeSantis and Florida smashed in the wall of authoritarianism. And they could follow and go, we're going to do what they did, right? And states have. Texas, Missouri, South Dakota, Tennessee, Kentucky. Many states have followed one or more examples that DeSantis has set. But as far as D.C. goes in the presidency, anyone who thinks Governor DeSantis will do better in D.C. than Trump did, I think is smoking some really good weed. So send that weed, if you have some extra, to P.O. Box 12345, Chicago, California, 90210. And yes, that is pure satire, folks. We do not condone or encourage or glamorize any illegal activity or dangerous or harmful behavior, because we follow 100% all of their ridiculous community guidelines and terms of service. So after that rant, and boy, did that feel freaking good. After that rant, I'm gonna pour myself another one. While Jolene puts up the next question. And this comes from Sally Sue. And she says this. She says, so what is coming Do I need to start worrying my neighbors will turn me in as a gun-toting, make America great again Trump supporter for extra social credit score points? The answer to your questions, because there were 2 question marks that I'm seeing on my screen. It's Friday. It's the free-for-all. Fuck Joe Biden. The answer is yes. You need to start worrying about your neighbors turning you in as a gun-toting, make America great again Trump supporter who is also America first. Constitution is law. History matters. Culture is significant. Because they will want, folks, extra social credit score points. I bet every one of these Democrat socialist scumbags that SWAT people, and by the way, they swatted Steve Bannon, former Trump cabinet member, who's got his own show on YouTube. They swatted him now twice. They swatted Marge Taylor Greene twice. That's right, a congressional representative. These radical, crazy, stupid screwballs have done that. I bet any liberal out there that either swats or turns into the Democrat Socialist Party, I bet they'll keep track and go, oh, no, you don't want to hurt me because I'm a good guy. I'm a Democrat, and I've turned in 5 of my neighbors who I believed were gun-toting, make America great again, America first Trump supporters. Sally Sue, I'm saying yes, but I'm not saying yes to scare you. I'm not saying yes to scare anyone. I'm saying yes because I think it's important that you understand the risk that we all face. Whether or not you are very bellicose, whether or not you're vociferously screaming and yelling, right? Whether or not you stand on the corner quietly with a placard, a sign that you're holding up saying, make America great again. It doesn't matter whether you're loud or quiet or whether you say anything at all. Some people just put a Trump sign in their yard or a Republican sign in the yard or a Make America Great sign in the yard. Some people fly their Army flag or the Marine Corps flag under the United States of America flag in their yard. All of you and all of us will be turned in by these leftist scumbags. And all of those leftist scumbags will use everyone they turned in and say, see, I turned people in. I'm a good guy, right? I'm on Biden's side. Folks, those days are coming. To a greater and lesser extent, depending on where you're at. In Florida, it won't be as big a problem as it will be in New York, Illinois, Washington, Oregon, and California, and Colorado. I met someone this morning, who stepped out of their vehicle, and they had Colorado license plates on. I didn't need to say a word. I just said, hey, I see you're from Colorado. Right? Welcome to Florida. Okay, let's do this. Let's get to another question. I really like that, Sally Sue. No, let me finish up. If we could take that back down, Jolene, and put Sally Sue back on the board. You are awesome, Jolene. Before the show, by the way, I had quite a bit of vitamin A. And I've had some vitamin A during the show because, well, you guys are good at buying me shots. Even during the week, not just on Sunday Night Live at the zoo, but even during the week, somebody's buying me a shot. Anyway, Sally Sue, don't worry in a way that makes you fearful. Worry or think in a way that makes you aware. Aware of your neighbors, aware of your coworkers, aware of your family, because, folks, these anti-American infiltrators are everywhere. Do I recommend doing anything violent? No, of course not. Just understand, folks, that half the people in the United States of America claim to be Democrats, and they're not leaders, they're political followers, and they will follow their leader, no matter what they're told, as obscene and disgusting as the Democrats are in Washington, D.C., the Democrats in our neighborhoods, in our lives, are just underneath them because they're followers. So if the Democrats in D.C. want pro-abortion, every baby aborted, the Democrats around you, they'll follow that. They'll follow it, folks. They'll follow it. Unbelievable. If they say anyone who doesn't agree with them is evil and bad, then everyone in America will say the same thing if they're Democrats. It's unbelievable that they will follow this stuff. When people ask, how is it that people fell for the Nazi bullshit? We're now witnessing how it happens. The difference between 1920s and 30s Germany, also the 1940s, and America and the world today is that we have the benefit of examining true history and seeing what they did back then. We have that benefit. And we have the benefit of being Americans and our Second Amendment. Consequently, we're not going to fall for that shit. We're not going to bend over. We're not going to bow down. We're not going to take a knee. We're not going to assume the position. Unless that position is one of someone who has a backbone and a strong will and a strong mind and a strong spirit and a strong sense of morality and decency. You do not, folks. I don't. And yes, the medicine's working. You do not ever compromise your morality and decency in order to placate a political figure like Joe Biden, who is merely a puppet, folks. He is merely a puppet who dances and sings whatever tune Barack Obama tells him to, or the World Economic Forum commands that he perform, or whoever these invisible, above the screen people up there, whoever the hell they are, he'll do and dance whatever tune. Right? He'll dance to whatever tune they want to play. And this week's tune is to divide America and cause everyone to follow their thoughts of hatred for the Constitution. All right, let's move on if we shall. I believe it was Heidi was next. But no, it's East Texas Country Boy. And he says this: should we take the speech as a direct threat, or should we see it as a cry of desperation and fear? East Texas Country Boy, that is a profound question, because it strikes at the very heart of what is happening. It is actually both. And I'm going to start with the cry of desperation and fear, because I want everyone on our side of the aisle, the political aisle, if you will. I want everyone to understand that the political left, meaning the Democrats in your city, the Democrats in your state, the Democrats in D.C., the Supreme Court, the Democrats there, and the Democrats in the White House, as well as their puppet masters, who are a bunch of socialist, authoritarian, technocracy, oligarch bastards. All of them are extremely afraid of you and me. They're extremely afraid of us. It is a cry of desperation. They're trying to do and say anything they can, including defiling the presidency with Joe Biden and then having him make this speech. It's a cry on their part of desperation and fear to make their people believe that you and I are bad, when we love law and order, we're willing to pay our taxes, and will defend this country, the United States of America, against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and use our First Amendment freedom of speech, our Second Amendment, right to keep and bear arms in defense of our state, our nation, our lives, and our way of life. If we could, Jolene, let's put that back up there, because I want to address the first part. Where'd it go, Jolene? That was a great topic by East Texas. If we could get it back up. Jolene, where are you? I hope you didn't lose that. There we are. While we should, one, take it as a cry of desperation and fear, and thank you, Jolene. I know that you're behind the scenes, folks. Her fingers are like hot from typing keys and pushing mouse button. Anyways, it should be also considered a direct threat because of their desperation and their fear, not only at the local level, the state level, in your job, at the corporation, but also at the United States, D.C., federal, totalitarian, authoritarian, socialist, democrat, commie-crat level. It is a true, meaningful, honest, direct threat from these people. The only thing that I believe is stopping them from taking action, the only thing that I think is stopping President Biden, the Pentagon, and governors around the country and the National Guard under them, is the fact that they know that you have a Second Amendment, that you have freedom seeds, and that you have an understanding of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, your rights, our duties as Americans to protect our country, right? They're afraid of us. That cries back to their fear and the desperation because they can't convince us, fool us, hornswoggle us, blindside us, blindfold us, hoodwink us, or fool us into buying their horse shit. The Germans in the 1920s, 30s, and the 40s, they bought into it. A great number of them, even though some didn't, folks. Not all Germans are bad back then, but the Nazis were. Today, we have the Fourth Reich. We have the World Economic Forum, the corporate wing of the Fourth Reich socialist fascist system. And then we have the political side. And that's who is making speeches on a daily basis. All right. Anyways, East Texas Country Boy, that was a terrific question to ask. Like I said, folks, you guys are the reason this show kicks ass. Because you bring up topics we should all consider. Doesn't mean we believe everything that's said. It doesn't mean that you have to believe everything that's said. Right? No. What we do is we offer opinion, concepts, perspectives, ideas, and then you get to choose for yourselves. I have a lot of topics to go over, folks. Where do we go next, right? I want to hit you with this. And we may go a little bit long today. You don't have to stay. There's no requirements here at the Prepared Mind channel. You don't have to stay, but we may go a little bit long. Folks, get this. The experts out there, and I'm going to change gears on you, right? Go away from the military bullshit, and I'm going to go to the medical bullshit. The experts still aren't giving up on Jim Jones juice mandates. Oh, yeah, this is a big WTF, a big what the fuck moment. Dr. Gilbert Burdine of the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. I guess if you have more and more words in your title, you're more important. How about you just be credible and decent, right? And intelligent and honest. So Dr. Gilbert wasn't one of the nerds from Revenge of the Nerds named Gilbert. Dr. Gilbert Burdine of the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. And here we go again. Ryan McMacken discussed the policymakers' justifications for vaccine mandates over the past 2 years. Who is the policymaker? Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci. Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci are policymakers. They are not policy, shall we say, implementers. That would be the government at this local, state, and federal level. But these guys discussed the policymakers' justifications for vaccine mandates over the past 2 years. will any of these policymakers ever admit to their mistakes, right? No, folks, they're going to continue to push this. You and I think it's over, but they're going to continue to push this. Just the other day, early in the week, I talked about the United States Coast Guard's demand that candidates either get their Jim Jones juice or get the fuck out of the academy. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, right? They're still pushing it, folks. They're quietly not giving up. California tried pushing mask mandates. Other states, the same. They're not going to give up. Now, I don't know because I'm down south where it's very free. But I feel that my American brethren and sisters, and indeed my international brethren and sisters around the world, are being, I think, punished, if you will, attacked with mandates to get injected, shot up, put on masks, abide by these ridiculous rules. And no one, folks, in government, no one's going to admit to their mistakes. In fact, they're going to lie about it. And you and I have predicted this. And we've also feared that they would keep coming back again and again and again. It's cerveza bug. It's the Delta variant. It's the Omicron. It's monkeypox. They won't quit, folks. We've been expecting this. And the deaths, as we've noted, during the guess what caused that? The take a guess, right? They continue. You know, I say demand truth and reality. I say hold these bastards accountable. You and I should, folks. The media even is stepping up. And I want to play this piece and we'll continue because I feel like it.
With COVID, I mean, the things that we thought we knew in the beginning turned out as the months went by to not be the case, which really forced us to adapt and to change some of our policies and recommendations. That was interpreted by many as flip-flopping or not really knowing what's going on, when it really was the evolution of the science.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
The best vaccination is to get infected yourself. If she really has the flu, she definitely doesn't need a flu vaccine. If she really has the flu,
she should not get it again.
No, she doesn't need it because it's the most potent vaccination is getting infected yourself.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied. I have never lied. I have never lied.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
I represent science. I represent science. I represent science.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
And we did that
do you
because
regret that it went too far? Whatever your original intentions were, and it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback here, but that it went too far, that particularly for kids who couldn't go to school except remotely, that it's forever damaged them.
Well, I don't think it's forever irreparably damaged anyone.
And we did indeed suffer irreparable harm, sir, whether you care to admit it or not. Good riddance, Dr. Fauci. You are not truth, and you will not be missed.
I don't think that there is a better way of demonstrating their hypocrisy, their willfulness to deceive the American people through their ignorance. Unbelievable. Now, once again, we had Joe Biden's threat to anyone who is a Make America Great Again, an America Firster, a Trump supporter, or even a Republican voter, as calling them a danger and a threat to the United States government. And while Biden backed off today, folks, guess what Karine Jean-Pierre said yesterday in defense, right? She said, you must agree with the majority or, quote, you are extreme. You know, just 10 years ago, 15 years ago, extreme was the coolest fucking thing ever. I'm an extreme sports skier. I'm an extreme runner. I'm an extreme football player. Everything extreme was cool. Now, all of a sudden, extreme is bad. Let's see your comments on Biden's speech. Jolene has let me know you've got some comments. Let's see him, Jolene. We got Chris P. Bacon. Folks, dude, if you ever get to meet Crispy Bacon, he's one of the coolest dudes on the planet. I mean, look at that picture up there. Crispy Bacon right there. Bam, that dude. What I wouldn't give tomorrow to be sitting on the beach at a beach bar with Crispy Bacon, enjoying an ice cold beer and watching the surf and sand. How fucking cool would that be down in Florida with Crispy Bacon? I would say only the most lucky bastard on the planet would have that privilege. All right, man. Chris, you know what I'm talking about because you are that cool dude. Anyways, this is what Chris has to say. Interesting that video clips were all over this place this morning of hashtag pedo Hitler damning Make America Great Again, but now they're all gone. The big tech government connection is always there. Thank you, Crispy Bacon. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is busy cleaning and scrubbing the internet of all of Biden's bullshit and speeches, just like they cleared off everything Sandy Hook, Boston bombing. You bet they want to clean every shred of evidence out of there that demonstrates and shows exactly how corrupt and evil big tech is. Chris, that was fucking awesome, dude. Sure wish I could be there tomorrow, man. Sure wish. Because I've seen pictures you sent me of the places you've been and the things you're doing, man. All right. Let me step up with the next one. We got Heidi. And she says, of the speech, this is fucking funny. Heidi says, it reminded me of the end of Sound of Music when the Nazi soldiers were standing by to take the captain. Now, after a couple shots of Captain Morgan and a few other drinks, every time I think now of the Sound of Music, I think of European Vacation with Clark W. Griswold, played by Chevy Chase, where he's singing "The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Griswold." Anyways, yeah, the end of the Sound of Music had Nazis. Folks, all of that happiness, all of that Bavarian greatness, all of that beautiful scenery, all of those ideas and concepts. I miss the old movies. But Nazis, folks, they never went away 100%. They never disappeared. Same with the communists. They're all cut from the same cloth, folks. The only difference between a communist and a socialist is whether or not they're in a big hurry. It took, folks, the Nazis from the early 1920s when Hitler was in jail and they were in the Putziller Hall. I can't never say the word right, especially when I've had a drink or two. Ooh, man, Nikki, help me out with that. They were in that fucking beer hall all the way until the late 1930s when they had absolute 100% control of Germany and then declared war. It took them almost 20 years, well over a decade, one could argue, before they had power. They're socialists, but they took their time. Now, the communists in the Bolshevik Revolution in Soviet Russia, or rather, I should say Tsarist Russia, during the Romanov reign, they did it very quick. They went in and killed the Romanovs. They had a rebellion, a revolution to bring in communism, and they did it very quickly. Truly, the only difference between communists and regular socialists is how much of a hurry they're in. With our Constitution, our history, our law, our beliefs, our culture, our traditions. Our traditions. Traditions. You get that there, Tim? Traditions. With our traditions, the socialists in America have had to take a very, very, very long time. And they've been working on this nation since the 1960s with the hippies, the 1970s with the drugs, the 1980s with political infiltration, the 1990s with the pronouncement of big government with the Clintons, into the 2000s with George W. Bush and the war on terror, and then into Barack Hussein Obama with his hope and change, let's change America fundamentally crowd, while the military was being infiltrated by communists, to where we are today. I hope I laid that out well enough, because it fucking matters to see how much time these socialists have taken. But folks, they won't stop at mere socialism. They will go to totalitarian, authoritarian, technocratic tyranny. It's coming. I'm not fucking kidding anymore. Get prepared. Okay, Jolene, do we have anyone else left? You didn't send me a message saying we're done. And we have Kathleen Master. And she said she heard a great sentence today, a great quote. And on Sunday Night Live, we often have, well, every freaking Sunday, we have Mr. Skylight gives us a quote. Well, today we've got one from Kathy LeMaster. And she says that she heard this today. He's keeping his job. He's doing his job. Kind of fits here with those guys as well. I wish I knew more about the situation and the context under which you heard that. But we could apply that to Biden, right? He's keeping his job. Yeah, he's going to be the president, but he's not doing his job, which is he's screwing over America. And Gary D says the left will do anything to stay in power. We have all of history, folks, from today all the way back to the past. All the way back to the past. Every tyrant in history, whether you go back and you talk about Chairman Mao or Stalin or Lenin or Hitler, you go back in time, folks, and you talk about Napoleon, King Louis, King George. You go back in time 500-600 years and you talk about King Philippe the Fair. Or you go back to Cicero and Nero 2,000 years ago. The story's the same. Tyrants never quit. They don't give up. They don't change their ways. They don't admit their faults and their guilt and surrender their power. They're evil, folks. Rotten to the core, as the colloquial expression goes. I want to thank you for staying on an extended free-for-all, folks. And thanks to you, Biden, it's on. Let's go, Brandon. Bring it on, bitches in D.C. The people of America are ready. Our Second Amendment has stayed in place. Our First Amendment exists in our hearts and our minds. You can't stop us with words. You can't control us with your lies and your phony laws. This is America, Jack. And we love our freedom and liberty. We love our flag. We love our country. As imperfect as our past is, we love it because it is shown and demonstrated that we, the people, me and you, have evolved and become better and worked through our problems. And it is the U.S. government and governments around the world which have demonstrated that they are the problems. And as Ronald Reagan, that great American president, once said, government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem. God bless America. Semper Fi. And I'll see you guys all at Sunday Night Live at the zoo right here on the Prepared Mind channel on YouTube, on the thepreparedmind.club, on subscribestar.com. We're also available, of course, on BitChute, Rumble, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can't kill us unless you kill the whole system. Chance favors the Prepared Mind. Is yours. Semper Fi, Godspeed, and we'll be back. Get prepared, folks. Go to thepreparedmind.club.